So I'll talk about this more in the final lecture. We're talking about technology. But this is the secret to creating field propulsion. If you had a spaceship, if you've got a UFO, here's a UFO, here's a UFO, call that UFO. A UFO is going to fly because it's created a magnetic field such that this is complete around it, and this is now independent. It from all the energy around it, can't get in, can't do anything, and this can just go off now and do what it likes. So it's become essentially a superconductor inside the field, and it can just slip through the field wherever it wants to go. So this is where this technology moves up. And here, black hole, again the same thing. A black hole is a sinkhole, a point of inertia, and we want to be able to create these. We only need to create one. So if this craft wants to travel somewhere, inside it needs a field, and what you have to do is project a black hole, a point of inertia in front, and now this thing is going to be drawn to it. It's going to be falling into this black hole. But this is like a carrot and a stick. You know, if here you've got a carrot on a stick, and here you've got the horse. Here's the horse trying to get the carrot. He looks more like a dinosaur. But he wants to get the carrot. He can never get the carrot. The carrot is on a stick around his neck. So this is how it's going to work. Hi there, my name is Toby, and on this channel I talk about body dynamics and chi energy. And this is my Magickal Science Lecture series, and this is number 5 in the series. And really what I'm doing in this lecture series is offering a complete model of the universe. This is a new model of the universe, and this is my model. I've got to say these are my thoughts, but this model of the universe is really based on Tesla's physics. It's based on the combination of Tesla's physics and Taoist philosophy. So Taoist philosophy really was the original science. This was science. The Taoist masters of the past were studying the universe, but they were studying the universe together with consciousness, together with life. They were talking about and looking at the life force. Metaphysics and physics were one and the same thing in the Tao. And Tesla's physics is very similar to that. Tesla's physics is field theory. He's looking at the universe as a singular field, a field of ether. And this is a singular fluid field, very much like chi. Chi energy, the same idea, a singular field of chi that the whole universe is made up of and we are part of. So this is a beautifully simple model of the universe, but it's very different to what we've got in modern science. Modern science, really what we've got is a reductionist model of the universe. It's a reductionist, materialistic model of the universe. And Tesla's physics and the Taoist philosophy is a holistic, singular model of the universe, in which we're talking about fields. A field is a singular thing. It's all one field. It's not separation, not little dots, little particles all bumping together. It's one fluid field. And this is much simpler, and it's actually much more effective. And everything in the universe, everything, all the things that modern science has discovered and is working on, all those things can be explained with field theory. It just requires a different approach and a different set of mathematics. But the science we've got now is based on Einstein, and it's based on quantum mechanics, and it's based on mathematics that are around that concept. You see, the mathematics has got to be built on an assumption. So quantum mechanics and Einstein make an assumption, and then they build a mathematics around it. But the trouble is that mathematics doesn't work. They can't get the answers they want. They just can't do it. You see, modern science, they are searching for the answers. Modern science do want to find the grand unified field theory. They're looking for it. And if they could combine quantum mechanics and Einstein's relativity into one theory, this would be the grand unified field theory. And they want to do it. They want to do that. But they can't. These two theories don't mix. And when I was studying physics at university, one of our professors was one of the top guys in the world in quantum gravity. This is theoretical physics, and quantum gravity is the most advanced physics. It's the one which you are combining quantum mechanics and general relativity, which is gravity, into one theory. And this professor, he started his lectures by saying, listen, there are two theories. On the one hand, we've got quantum mechanics. On the other side, we've got this general relativity. But the problem is these two theories don't mix. Whatever they do, they can't make these two theories work together. So he said, in his words, he said, that means one of these theories has to be wrong, or both of these theories have to be wrong. That's logic. So this comes from a mainstream professor at the top of his field, quantum gravity, and this is what he says. And it's true. If these two theories don't work, one must be wrong, or both must be wrong. But the problem is they're not stopping and starting again. They're just still adding to these theories, trying to make them work, and it don't work. It can't work. And they're adding on things to the mathematics. Now we've got 11 dimensions. We keep adding another dimension on. But we get confused when we think about dimensions. We think, oh, there's another dimension. It's just a mathematical construct. Add another dimension to the mathematics. Now maybe it works. But it doesn't. It will never work. So we really need to start all over again. You know, scrap all that, start again from the beginning. And that's what I'm trying to do here. In this lecture series, I'm offering you a new model of the universe. A brand new model of the universe. And it's very simple, it's very elegant, and it makes sense. There's a logic to it. And I believe this model of the universe, again, it requires a lot more thinking, a lot more real science and real mathematics put into it. But I think this model of the universe will explain everything, and it will explain everything better. And furthermore, once we go into the depths of it, you will get new technology from this model of the universe. You see, the technology we've got is severely limited because it's based on this materialistic model. Another model of the universe will offer a new set of experiments and will offer a new set of technologies. In this lecture, lecture number 5, I want to talk more about gravity. And gravity also connects to the mind-body connection. And it's a deep little thing that requires a bit of discussion. But you see, the mind and the body is the consciousness and the material realm, the soul and the spirit and the material realm. How do these two things come together? Well, there is a sort of a pull between the two. It's very much like gravity. But gravity, again, requires a bit of explanation. So we're going to start off by talking about gravity. What is gravity? Now, you see, modern science, as well as looking for the ground unified field theory, they do want to have just one theory, but they can't find it. They also want to have one force. They would like to unify all the forces into one force, but they can't do it. The same problem. So in modern science, there are 4 fundamental forces. You've got the magnetic force, you've got gravity, then you've got the strong nuclear force and the weak nuclear force. So these two forces, the last two, most people don't know these, but these are to do with how neutrons and protons stick together. So it all appears these are different forces, but they would like to have just one. Now they're trying to get one, so they sort of believe it to be so. There should be one force, and they want to get the ground unified field theory. They're looking for it, so they know, well, it should be so. There should really be just one ground unified field theory, but they can't find it. They're looking, but they can't find it. And the main reason they can't find it is because they have dismissed the ether. The ether offers the solution. The ether is the ground unified field. The ground unified field is the ether, the underlying substance, the underlying energy that creates this whole universe. But there are lots of different theories about the ether, and a lot of these theories are also completely wrong. So there is one theory about the ether that's going to be the right one, and I'm hoping that I'm offering that theory here. I'm hoping that this is the correct theory of the ether and how this whole universe works. So let's start by looking at gravity. The best way to look at gravity is start looking at black holes. Let's look at black holes. And everyone who's interested in the universe and the way everything works, they're fascinated by black holes. We all are. What is a black hole? Well, let's go back. Before we do a black hole, in lecture number 3, I talked about the formation of the universe. So let's draw that picture again. What does the whole universe look like? Well, the universe starts from nowhere. So nowhere, outside time and space. This is the ether, or this can also be called inertia. Inertia is the point of rest, but in rest there is also infinite energy. So inertia is 0, no energy, but also means infinite energy. The ancient Greek translation of the word inertia was actually pure potentiality, infinite potential. But we're calling this ether, and we can also call this chi, or the life force, all the same thing. So this starts off at infinitesimal point, 0, and then it emerges in a divergent spiral. It goes off to infinity. So infinity now is a circle, and from infinity it comes back in again. So here we've got infinity, and here we've got 0. So now this is the model of the universe. So the universe, in my idea of the universe, is a sphere, a perfect sphere. It has to be a perfect sphere, but it's an infinite sphere. It goes off to infinity, so you can't draw it. And in the middle of this is going to be an infinitesimal point, a 0. And this is the point of inertia. And from this point of inertia, the universe bursts out, fills up the universe, and comes back in again. And this is the magnetic field. Here, these are magnetic field lines. So this structure, this formation of the universe, is the creation of the field. And this is the field here. The magnetic field bursts out. This is the line, this is called the line of inertia. Here you've got the plus and the minus. This is charge and discharge, or this is the north and the south pole of a magnet. It's the same thing. And the magnetic field lines goes all the way around, all the way around, all the way around, off to infinity and back in again. And this here you've got the creation of a three-dimensional field. But a field is not separation. This is a pure fluid. It's a pure fluid. But it's being created. It's appearing from here, and then it's disappearing back in here again. So this is the universe creating and destroying itself continuously. And this model is the totality of the whole universe. But this model is the same as every little thing, everything going on in the universe follows this same model. You see, this is a model of a magnet, just a little lump of metal, a magnet. Here's the north and south pole. It will have this same pattern. Here's the point of inertia. Here's the magnetic field, goes off to infinity, and comes back in again. But even this, so this is a non-magnetic material, it will still have the same thing going on. In the middle there will be a point of inertia. This is the center of gravity. Center of gravity. Every object has got a center of gravity. At this point of center of gravity, there is no gravity. See, at this point, the central point of inertia, there is no magnetism. The magnetism appears as it bursts out and goes back in again. But at this point, there is no magnetism, there is no time, and there is no space. This is the point of inertia. This is the point of ether. This is outside time and space. It's the same in gravity. If you take a planet, imagine this is the planet Earth. Well, if you travel down to the center of the planet Earth, right in the middle of the planet Earth, there'll be no gravity. You'll just be floating. So right in the center of gravity, there is no gravity. Gravity appears around it. And you'll say, well, it appears because there is mass, there is matter around it. Yeah, but everywhere along inside this matter, you're going to have a different gravity effect. Out here, you'll have a particular effect of gravity, but if you're deep in the earth here, if you're a person here, you're going to have a different effect of gravity. And if you're right in the middle here, you're going to have a different effect of gravity. And the gravity is to do with this point of inertia. It's to do with the universe creating and destroying itself. And there is only one force. This is the simplest way of looking at it. This one force is gravity, is magnetism. So remember, modern science would like to have one single force. They don't want four forces, but they don't understand these four forces, so they can't work out how this will all boil down into one force. And this is what I want to share with you now. There is one force, and this is how it works. So we can call this force gravity, and we can call this force magnetism, but really it's the same force. It's the same force, doesn't matter what you call it. The interesting thing, again in my previous lectures, because there's only one field, there is also only one particle, because this field is a vibration, a wave. It's a particular wave created, again it's created, governed by the mathematics of the golden ratio, and the golden ratio is phi. Again, I talk about this in previous lectures, but the golden ratio of phi, this is a Greek letter used in mathematics, and this represents the golden ratio, which is a proportion, and all living things, all things that grow in this world require this mathematics of the golden ratio. It's the mathematical solution that allows growth to happen, repeat over and over and over, but always in a different way, always in a different way. So this is the mathematics required to create a universe, a living universe. It's the golden ratio. And the golden ratio will actually govern this actual creation of the field. So this one universe has one field, and this one field has one force, because here this is the energy bursting out, but as the energy comes back in again, this creates a force. The moment it comes out, it wants to go back in again. And this creates one particle which is the neutron. But even the neutron is going to have this same pattern. The same pattern going on. Here's the neutron. The neutron is a freestanding wave. So this is there's only one solution to the one field having a freestanding wave, a circular wave. This is a spherical wave. And this neutron is neutral. So it has no particular charge. Now, I put it to you, we need to make one adjustment. If we talk about gravity, then we also have to talk about another version of gravity, which is polarized gravity. So if you look at this is a planet. If this look at this is a planet, this is the center of gravity. This is just normal gravity. But if you look at a magnet, see, a magnet is also going to have its own force created by this magnetic field. But we can call the magnetic field polarized gravity. So let's say this again. So magnetism, this is how we're going to unify magnetism and gravity. So magnetism is polarized gravity. This is the best way of saying it. Magnetism is polarized gravity. This is how we unify these two forces. I have to define it. There's two versions of gravity. So if you have normal gravity, it's not polarized, it applies to all matter, gravity. Then you'll say, well, that's not magnetism because this isn't magnetic. Here I've got a magnet, but these two don't do anything. Yeah, but they've got a gravitational force and they both fall down, but this is not magnetic. Well, it still is magnetic, but gravity is oh, here we go. So gravity is depolarized magnetism. Okay, this is my definition. Okay, no one else has said it like this. So this is only me. So in a way, if this is correct, then here you go. This is my release of this theory. If it's incorrect, never mind. It's only my thoughts. But magnetism is polarized gravity. Gravity is depolarized magnetism. This is how we're unifying these two forces together. Now, then the other two forces, the weak force and the strong force and the nuclear, the weak nuclear force and the strong nuclear force will be some combination of these two things. It'll be a combination of magnetism and depolarized magnetism, or it will be a combination of gravity and polarized gravity. So it depends what you like. If you like gravity, then we have to talk about polarized gravity. If you like magnetism, then we have to talk about depolarized magnetism. So what is the difference? Well, let's go right from the beginning. Here's the model of the universe. Now the model of the total universe, complete universe, is infinite. And as an infinite universe, it must be a sphere. So this there's nothing else happening. There can't be anything else, there's everything. So this will have to be gravity, or depolarized magnetism, because there's no pole, there's no north-south pole. There's no north-south pole here. I've already got the north pole and the south pole, because having a north and south pole implies there's something outside. There's nothing outside. So there's no north-south pole. However, there is a north-south pole, it's inside. The north-south pole is inside. So this is the difference between polarized and depolarized. So if you go back to this one universe, this one field, it creates the one particle, which is the neutron. So here we have the neutron. The neutron is a standing wave of the one field, of the ether, or of the electromagnetic field, or if you like, the gravitational field, is one standing wave, and this creates a complete circle. So this is all by itself. It's neutral because it has no polarity, but it does. You see, this still has the same map. It still has the same map going on. The energy goes out and comes back in again, but it circulates round in this wave. It's all enclosed by this wave, the magnetic field. The magnetic field is dominant. So the north and the south pole, or the plus and the minus, are inside. So this has no particular force, no magnetic force. It's just got gravity. So this is depolarized magnetism. However, this becomes a proton. So a proton is the same thing. A proton is the same particle, proton, but the proton is going to be normal magnetism. It's polarized or polarized gravity. We'll have the north and the south pole outside. So what's happened is this is slightly destabilized such that this aspect of the universe bursting out and coming back in again is overpowered the magnetic field. So it's opened up a pathway to this point of inertia. Here the pathway to the point of inertia is closed, is sealed off completely. Here it's opened up a little bit. So now what we've got here is a magnetic force. So this is now polarized gravity. This is polarized gravity, and this is gravity or depolarized magnetism. So now we've got the two fundamental particles of the universe. The neutron, which is depolarized, or the proton, which is polarized. So between these two things, we've got gravity and we've got magnetism. But they're both the same thing. They're just two slightly different formulations of this one pattern. Now, and these two formulations appear all over the universe. So in this lump of non-magnetic material, this is essentially depolarized magnetism. But in this magnet, this is a magnet here, in this magnet we've got polarized magnetism. So now we've got a dramatic force. So this is how we unify gravity and magnetism. They're both one and the same thing. And the way to think of it is there is polarized matter and depolarized matter, proton and a neutron. And these build up further and further. So what that means is as you build up an atom is made of neutrons and protons, etc., etc. Now electrons, let's just digress again, electrons and all other particles, there are no other particles, there is only the proton and the neutron, they're both the same particle. So there's only one particle, so electron is not a particle, and the electron is a particular quantity of energy required to balance a proton, but it's not a particle in itself. It's a quantity, a fixed quantity of energy required to balance against a proton. And then all these other exotic particles, neutrinos, gluons, all these funny particles that they're coming across, these are interference patterns in the field. And you also get droplets of energy. You do get temporary particles, but it's like a packet of energy, but it's not really a particle. It's a different size portion of energy, and it's just disappearing on its way back to inertia. So just to give you that, if you've got the field, the whole fluid field, this whole universe is a fluid field, a moving field, and it's a moving field interacting. So these are imagine there's two parts of two fields interacting here, like waves in a pond. And what you get in these crossing points of interaction, here you get nodes of constructive interference. Where they cross over, these are nodes of constructive interference, and these will be moving because the field is moving, and these appear like particles. But also here in these places where there's destructive interference, here you're going to get sinkholes. This is where matter is disappearing. These are like little black holes. So here you've got matter and here you've got a black hole. But this is tiny because there's the two principles of what's going on in the universe. There's a principle of energy being created and energy disappearing again, being destroyed. So these are all the other particles. And remember, there's different layers to this field, many, many different frequencies, all coming from all different angles. So you're going to get so many different varieties of these constructive nodes of interference. So there's no other particles. The only genuine particle is the neutron, which becomes a proton. Everything else is just energy, interference patterns or some energy effect, i.e. a droplet of energy. I talk about that in I think lecture 3 a bit more. But now, gravity, let's go back to gravity. Let's say we've got a neutron here. So a neutron is a depolarized matter. This is depolarized matter. So depolarized matter, let's represent it by a neutron. And here we've got polarized. Polarized matter is the proton. But the proton here, all right, let's do it like this. It's got a north and the south on the outside. Depolarized has got the north and the south on the inside. That's the main difference. So you can imagine now protons, here's the proton, here's the neutron. Protons will come together because another proton will be attracted because you've got the north and the south. So this line of inertia pulls these two things together and it creates one big, this is like a little magnet. These two things come together and create one big magnet. But what you've got in the middle now, what you've got in the middle between these two protons is another point of inertia. This creates a whole new point of inertia. So these two protons now work as a single unit, and they follow this same pattern now. This same pattern of a divergent and a convergent universe with a magnetic field going around it. This whole thing, this is called coherence. This all coheres into one thing. And then if you've got an electron or some energy, this thing balances with it and seals it all off. And this polarized matter, once balanced with an electron, can become depolarized. Because inside this sphere now, in the totality of it, it's achieved balance. But now the question is two neutrons. Two neutrons, here's another neutron here. Well, two neutrons, this polarity is doing nothing. So how do these two attract? Well, what is interesting? You see, what you've got to realize is ether. Ether is pure consciousness, non-physical. It creates energy. It creates this energy. As it diverges, energy is created. But the moment this energy is created, it wants to go back to ether. Everything in creation wants to return back to ether. This is a division of inertia. Remember, inertia, I did it in the previous lecture, divides. But as soon as it divides, it wants to go back. And in terms of consciousness and the body, matter and the body, it's the same thing. Consciousness existing in pure ether. Infinite perfection. It comes down into the body, it does something physical, now it's limited. And the moment we're limited in this limited potential, then we think, oh crap, I want to go back. I want to go back to the heavenly experience of being part of the one unified ether. So this is inertia dividing itself, and then it wants to go back. And this happens on every level. See, the body, the atoms that make up this body are trapped ether. The ether is trapped. Once it's created this standing wave, it wants to go back. It can't. But you see, this standing wave in the middle is a point of inertia. So really what this energy is doing is being pulled to the midpoint. It wants to collapse itself back to infinity, back to zero or infinity. But it can't. It's just going round and round and round in this standing wave. The only way this can collapse is if this wave is broken, it's collided, and then the energy is free, and it can either go into that point of inertia or somewhere else, wherever there's inertia, and disappear back to ether. So all matter is stuck ether. It's crystallized ether. It wants to return back to this infinite field, but it can't. So this is the separation. We've got a separation now. This infinite fluid field is this is a separate particle living inside this infinite field. You see, energy becomes matter. This becomes matter. This matter is the neutron. But now let's go back to gravity. So really, this single neutron is being attracted to its own center of inertia, this own point of inertia. So gravity is pulling itself inwards, but it can't get there. Now what happens is there's another one over here. There's another one over here. But the energy here on the edge of it, all this energy around the edge, it sort of senses, oh, there's another point. It senses it. There's that maybe some of the energy here might just be able to disappear in this point of inertia. But this pull is so slight compared to this pull. And this has got the same one. This one is being pulled to its inertial point. It can't get there. But the energy at the edge, it just senses, oh, another one here. So it might just want to get to this one. So there's a slight drift. These two things then will drift towards each other, because there's a slight possibility of the energy here disappearing down this one. But what's very interesting now is as these two seem to be pulled together, but it's not that this mass is pulled to this mass, it's that this mass is pulled to this point of inertia. And this mass is not a mass, it's an illusion. This mass is created by the size of the magnetic field. This is a magnetic field going round and round. This is like a little dynamo. This is electricity and magnetism together, working and working. But it's a self-sustaining dynamo. Anyway, these two get pulled together, and what happens is a new point of inertia appears. In fact, they both want to go here, because mathematically, this is the most efficient position for both of these to disappear back to inertia. So they're not being pulled towards each other, they're being pulled to this point. But what happens if there's a third one? Now the third one, same problem. It wants to collapse in, but it can't. So there's a strong force pulling it to its center. But there's a gentle force. Oh, look, there's one there. Maybe I could get to that one. But there's one there. Maybe I could get to that one. And these two have the same thing. Maybe I can get to this one, maybe I can get to this one. So they're being pulled towards each other, but really what happens is another point of inertia appears here. And this will be the most efficient position for all these three to pull towards to disappear. But what is this here? What is this point? This is a point of inertia. There's nothing here. It's created by these 3 points of inertia, or really it's created by these three standing waves want to return to inertia, but they can't. There's a point there. So they're drawn to this point. And the fourth one, same business. There'll be another point maybe about here somewhere. We don't know where this is going to be, but this point of inertia is moving according to whatever's going on. So this is like a sinkhole, a little black hole. There's a black hole being created. It's a black hole that all these parcels of matter, these trapped inertia, want to go back and disappear. But they can't. And they're only going to get so close because this drift, this force is not very strong, and this magnetic field is so strong that they can't get any closer now. So these three might be locked. These three might be locked in this, for example, in this point of inertia. They can't get any closer now. The only way they get closer is if you impact them, then they'll break. But that requires a lot of force. So we can see here there's a point of inertia of black holes. So now let's look at actual black holes. Let's look at actual black holes. Well, just out of comparison, you see the proton is more obvious. So here's a proton. Here's the proton with the north and the south are on the outside. So of course another proton over here, north and the south. Well, this force is much stronger. This force is much stronger. It's still a point of inertia. This is still the center of gravity, but it's like there's a pathway opened up. There's a pathway opened up straight to the point of inertia. A pathway opened up. And this one here, this energy is, they can really feel it now. So this pathway wants to come together. So you can see the proton and the two protons will stick together with this line of inertia and create a new one. But again, it's still got a complete magnetic field. It's still the same as a neutron. It can't get too close because it's stopped by this field. It's stopped by this field. If this was free floating energy, then of course it would come together and disappear. This is like lightning. When you see lightning strikes, when lightning strikes in the clouds, it's free floating energy. It's free, but it goes off like this. Some of it goes to Earth, but some just goes off to different points. It goes to points of inertia. These are different points of inertia. They're all over the place, moving about. The energy is chasing the position of lowest pressure. It's all about pressure mediation. That's the best way of describing it. This whole universe is a fluid field, and in this field you've got different points of pressure. It's like the weather. So high pressure is going to move towards low pressure. You see? So this bit of matter is in a way a sort of high pressure, but the Earth, in the middle of the Earth, is a much stronger point of inertia. There's low pressure, so everything's being pulled towards the point of inertia on the planet Earth. So let's have a look at a black hole. So a black hole is the same thing. Here we've got a black hole, but what you've got is the same pattern of the universe, the same pattern going on, the dielectric field. So here you have the north-south pole, or the plus and the minus. And here so this is the plane of it, this is the point of inertia, this is the line of inertia, and around it you'll have the plane of inertia, because this is where the magnetic field, in this plane is where if you hit it at an angle, you're not being pulled in or you're not being pushed out. This is the balance point between these two. So the black hole is like this, and everything of course is being pulled to this point of inertia. This is a very, very, very powerful point of inertia. So we know that everything is being sucked towards this point of inertia, but it's not an object. Again, this could be created by a collapsing matter, a collapsing star, but at some point it's collapsed so much that the magnetic field of this is still very powerful, but the magnetic field is collapsed inwards, and this pathway is far more dominant. This is the dielectric pathway. This is dielectricity. This is the polarity. So everything gets sucked into this point of inertia. But remember the model. So the universe is going in and the universe is coming out. And because this is such a powerful point of inertia, everything getting sucked in, something must be coming out. And it is. What is coming out of here is very, very high frequency energy. So high frequency energy, high frequency light. So you remember, from this point of inertia, the universe is created, the magnetic field comes out, but it also goes back in again. And at high frequency, very, very high frequency, it's super high frequency light That is when the neutron is created. So coming out of a black hole is neutrons. The neutrons coming out. And this has been proven. It's called galactic jets or astrophysical jets. You can look into it. So emitted from a black hole are neutrons. So super high energy light comes out as these freestanding particles. So this is where, you know, most light is low. This is very, very super high frequency. You've got to go very high energy before you can produce a neutron. See, in this magnet here, this is a magnet here. It's the same as a black hole. Look, here's the plane of, there's two magnets, so you can see that's repelling this way. Oh, that way is attracting. But this is a black hole. Here's the plane of inertia. If I go round and round like this, I feel nothing. The moment I come up here, oh, it's pulled in. The moment I go down here, oh, it's pushed away. It's pushed away. You see? But now in terms of, but this is polarized, and this is polarized. You see, if this was a black hole and this is not polarized, depolarized matter, both is going to be pulled in. Both is going to be pulled in. But a polarized matter, it won't be. One side it will be repelled, but it will be drawn up to this side and it will go in. You see? See, if I bring a magnet close to here, what will happen is it will just flick round up to there. It's not going to go there, but it will flip round straight away. You see? So polarized matter will have this effect, but depolarized matter is still just drawn to the gravitational point. There's a pathway in. But this, of course, is not emitting neutrons. There's no neutrons coming out of here. This is a very, very weak magnetic force. Here is extremely powerful. But nevertheless, there's some energy being emitted because, look, this energy is translated into movement. It's pulling it in or it's pushing it away. So there is a field. The field is coming out of here. A force is coming out of here, but it's very weak compared to a black hole. And the black hole is a very powerful magnetic field. It has to be, because a galaxy will form, and the galaxy will form in this disk. The galaxy forms in a disk around it. Okay, and that's the plane of inertia. So this is a super, super powerful black hole. But a black hole is emitting neutrons and everything. So matter is sucked in, but it's also being spat out again. So this again is beautifully simple. And in a normal magnet, there's no neutrons, but energy. Energy is coming out and going back in again. It's in perfect balance. This is the point of inertia. The universe is created and destroyed at this point. There's no time and space here. So if you think you go into a black hole off to another dimension, you won't. You'll just be sucked into matter, ground up and spat out again as neutrons. Nothing much will happen. You won't go anywhere. Sorry, you have magnetism is polarized gravity, and gravity is depolarized magnetism. It's the simplest way of saying it. And we can then look at matter. We have polarized matter and depolarized matter. So between these two, you can create all the different atoms. So your polarized matter is the proton, depolarized matter is the neutron. And polarized matter is going to attract more energy, the electron. But you see how the two protons, you can see two protons will stick together. You have north-south, but the neutron has got no north and south. It's on the inside, it's irrelevant. But the neutron will still have this gravitational, depolarized effect. So a neutron could fit in here, between these two protons, and then it will spin round, move round and round the plane of inertia created by these two protons. So this will have, you see, remember, this is depolarized and this is polarized. Two different effects of the same force. And it's created because of these two different dynamics. One of the dynamics, this dielectricity is dominant. This one, magnetism is dominant. And we'll take that, let's take this to another example. And again, here the example of polarized matter and depolarized matter. Well, depolarized matter is going to be the neutron. Here's the neutron. And polarized matter is going to be the proton. Let's do it like this. The proton. But also depolarized matter is where the magnetic field is complete. It's totally complete. So depolarized matter, if you could have a material that creates this complete magnetic field around it, this will be, let's imagine a bigger material, but it's got this complete field around it such that nothing can get in. This will be a superconductor. This will be a superconductor. And here, if you have this polarity, the ultimate polarized matter is going to be a black hole. Black hole. So this is the smallest, and this is the biggest. This is the smallest, this is the biggest. And a superconductor is really a control of the field. So I'll talk about this more in the final lecture. We're talking about technology. But this is the secret to creating field propulsion. If you had a spaceship, if you've got a UFO, here's a UFO, here's a UFO, call that UFO. A UFO is going to fly because it's created a magnetic field such that this is complete around it, and this is now independent. It from all the energy around it, can't get in, can't do anything, and this can just go off now and do what it likes. So it's become essentially a superconductor inside the field, and it can just slip through the field wherever it wants to go. So this is where this technology moves up. And here, black hole, again the same thing. A black hole is a sinkhole, a point of inertia, and we want to be able to create these. We only need to create one. So if this craft wants to travel somewhere, inside it needs a field, and what you have to do is project a black hole, a point of inertia in front, and now this thing is going to be drawn to it. It's going to be falling into this black hole. But this is like a carrot and a stick. You know, if here you've got a carrot on a stick, and here you've got the horse. Here's the horse trying to get the carrot. He looks more like a dinosaur. But he wants to get the carrot. He can never get the carrot. The carrot is on a stick around his neck. So this is how it's going to work. So this is where you can see how this depolarized matter leads up to a superconductor. Polarized matter leads up to a black hole. And this is what I'm talking about, how gravity and magnetism are unified. They're one force. And remember, this is what they want. Modern science is looking for this, but they can't find it because they need to let go of what they've done. They've got to start all over again. Start all over again. How does this relate to the mind-body connection, or the incarnation of the soul? That's the best way of talking about this. How does this relate to the incarnation of the soul? Consciousness coming into this material reality. Well, let's start once more from the beginning. You've got inertia, which is ether, or chi, or the life force. This is zero, and it's infinity. Oops, zero and infinity. See, inertia implies zero, but in inertia is pure infinite potential. So this pure infinite potential can't be physical, it's infinite. Here is consciousness, here is awareness, here is the soul. But this has got from this inertia, something happens. So from desire, there is an impetus created in consciousness, and something starts, a vibration starts. Now this beginning, this start, is a divergence. This start creates dielectricity. This creates a potential. This is the creation of energy. So here, energy, this point of creation is energy. But the moment this energy starts, this creation starts, it regrets and he wants to go back. He wants to go back. And when it goes back, this is magnetism. This is the force, magnetism. There is a force created. These want to pull back straight away. So there's a creation of energy, and magnetism is the force of this energy wanting to go back. Magnetism is actually entropy. Entropy. There's the creation of energy, and there's entropy, wants to go back again. So this energy is dielectricity. There is the dielectricity. And this entropy is magnetism. So there's two aspects to this force. There's two aspects. There's got to be two aspects. Electricity and magnetism. But these two aspects create two effects. So from these two aspects we create two particles. So you have a neutron. The neutron is very high frequency, and you have the proton. Here's the proton. But the proton has got a dynamic. It's got a dynamic going on. So these are the two, these are created from both dielectricity and magnetism. Dielectricity and magnetism. The dielectric field, or the electromagnetic field. This, of course, is light. This is electricity. This is everything. Now, light is just free floating electromagnetism. Electricity itself is this electromagnetism passing through a substance. When it passes through a substance like a metal wire, well, now we've got electricity, but it's still this electromagnetism, it's still the field going on, but the field going through something creates electricity. That's an aside. But here, let's see, so you've got these two particles, and from these two states of matter, polarized or depolarized matter, now you have all the universe created, all the world is created, the whole universe is here now. Okay, there's the Earth. What's interesting, remember, this is consciousness itself. Consciousness itself goes through this process. Consciousness itself creates this energy and wants to go back. This is like paradise lost. Consciousness, I'm consciousness here, and this is the physical reality. So the first interaction of consciousness and the physical reality is observation. It sees that, I see that. Wow, look at that. And then I want to come in and do something. So I create the energy. I create the energy by doing something. So this is me creating energy. And then when I let go of this, it falls back down again. So here I've created energy. Here I've created energy. And when I let go of it, consciousness lets go of it, it just returns back. It's entropy. It goes back down to inertia. This is the overall picture, but in this consciousness, once we've got down here, remember the last lecture, here we've got a living being. So here we are as a human being down here. So the human being now is in itself a singularity of consciousness. This is a singularity of consciousness. And you can see this mirrors the neutron. This mirrors the neutron, the same thing. See, the neutron is created from a particular frequency of the field. Is the same thing. A singularity is created from a particular frequency of consciousness. But this is not physical. This is still not physical. This is part of the ether, but it's outside the ether. A singularity has been created. See, I am an individual being. I've got my own consciousness, my own self-awareness, but it is separate from the universal field all around me, the universal field of consciousness. There's a separation between us now. And this separation happens when a body is created. You need a body to have this true separation. You see, because this layers of complexity through this process allows a singularity of consciousness, because a singularity of consciousness has to control this body. If these bodies were all created by a combined consciousness, these wouldn't be autonomous. You know, this would be like a robot. A robot will be controlled by a centralized location, and you can have loads of robots controlled by one centralized location. Well, we can be like that. We are like that. We've got NPCs. But really a human, a life form, is an independent singularity of consciousness, autonomous, and it interacts with other ones. There's another one here, but they've got their own singularity of consciousness. But these singularities of consciousness interact through this material world, and remember, they're governed by the mathematics of phi, the golden ratio. Everything here is governed by this mathematics. You have to have the mathematics, but up here you don't. These consciousnesses can interact here. In infinite things can happen. This is the realm of imagination. This is the realm of the spirit. In the Tao, this is called the spirit. And this is called the soul. This is called the soul. So the soul and spirit are different. The spirit is this infinite realm. This is also the unconscious mind. Unconscious. And the unconscious mind is here, is in infinity. There's no experience in the unconscious. It's outside time and space. Here we've got experience. Here we've got the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. But actually in the middle is the point of inertia. This is still the same thing. This is a singularity of consciousness. But in the middle of this singularity of consciousness is the point of inertia. It goes back here. But we're stuck now. We're stuck in this singularity because of this body. We can't return. So this is how it all works. It's the same thing. And this point of inertia, in this singularity of consciousness, is still attracted to the one in the earth. You see, points of inertia are the same. The fact that this is conscious and this is matter, it doesn't matter. These two points of inertia are attracted to each other. See, consciousness is still drawn to the physical realm. This is still gravity. This is still gravity. It's the same force that connects us. It means me as consciousness, I as pure consciousness, I see this material realm and I'm drawn to it. Wow, what's going on here? I want to go and have a look. What's that? What's that? I'm drawn to it. I come into this realm So this is the creation of energy. But when I get here to this realm, I realise, hang on a second, this is independent from me now. I'm separate. I can't control everything. Here I can do whatever I like. It's pure infinity. This is perfection. Here I can't. So I come here to look at this shell. Wow! And then someone throws it, hits me in the face. What? Oh, what the hell? I don't like it here now. I want to go back. So the moment we get here, we want to go back again, you see? So this is energy. We come down and we want to go back again. This is entropy. Oh, now I want to go back. But I can't. I'm stuck here now in this singularity of consciousness that is me, the soul. And the soul is stuck in the body. I'm stuck here in the body. So this is what I'm talking about next. And this you can see where gravity is the one and the same force. It's the same force that causes the soul to incarnate into physical reality. Or causes spirit to create a soul. In other words, when a body is created, a soul is created, and spirit comes into that body and there is a soul. But there is a subtle difference. There is a subtle difference. The spirit is the ether. This is the spirit. Pure infinity. This is the ether. Okay, so this is the soul. And this is the singularity of ether. Singularity of ether. Oops. So this is a singularity of consciousness. This is the infinite totality of consciousness. This is the spirit, this is the soul. But in the soul, there is a midpoint, a point of inertia, where the soul is gone back to the spirit. We can experience this at any time. This is the unconscious mind. This is the unconscious mind. But you see, the unconscious mind, just like the neutron is this energy spinning round and round, wanting to go back to the middle, but it can't. The same with us. We're spinning round and round. We want to go back to the middle, but we can't. What are we spinning around? Well, the soul splits into the waking mind, and the dream. And we're spinning around the waking and the dream. But we never get to the unconscious. This is the subconscious, this is the conscious mind. But really what we want to return to this unconscious. So we're going to do that now. How do we do this? Well, let's have another look at the body. So here we got the body. Here's the body. And here is the point of inertia. This is the point of our magnetic field. So this is our magnetic field here. This is the point of inertia. But because this is a magnetic field, this is polarized. This is polarized. So here we've got polarized energy. The magnetic field is dominant. Remember, there's two things. This is the dielectric component is dominant. So if the magnetic field is dominant, you've got a closed system, a neutron. If the dielectric component is dominant, you've got an open system. This is polarized. This is depolarized. This is the magnetic aspect. This is the dielectric aspect. You've got two aspects, and these two aspects can have different variations. These are the two main variations. So this is polarized. This is the magnetic field. But down here, you've got the center of gravity. So this is the center of your body. So that if you hang, the center of gravity means it's below your navel. If I were to hang myself from a wire from my navel, my body would just hang evenly. It's the center of gravity is here. So this position is important. This is the below the navel. So there's a center of your body here, the center of gravity. This is the center of gravity. Let's swap this over. This is the center of gravity. And this is the center of magnetism. Well, it's really electromagnetism, but we call this magnetism because this polarized gravity is magnetism. This is depolarized. There's no polarization here. And then there's one more up here. There's one more up here. There's one more center here. And this is going to be the seat of consciousness. So this is the singularity of ether. So this we'll call this, actually let's call this, ether. Here we go. This is the ether. Oops. Ether. So there's the singularity of ether here. And it's in the brain because here is the awareness. All the senses are here. The eyes are here, the ears, the nose, the mouth. Everything comes here. But they've all got this same pattern. They've all got this same pattern going on. But all in a slightly different way. This one is This one is pure consciousness, but pure consciousness is still generating energy. It's still creating energy, and this energy, but it's so slight. The slightest energy will affect the brain. Here's the brain. There's the brain. So the slightest energy affects the brain, and this slightest energy of the brain can affect the rest of the body, get it going. But the rest of the body needs more energy. It needs more electromagnetism. So more electromagnetism is created here in the heart center. So this creates the energy. Again, this are all points of inertia. The universe is appearing and disappearing here, but it also stores energy. Down here is a storage of energy. This is like a battery system as well down here. There's a battery system here. So electric charge is stored here. But the center of gravity is a point of focus. Is a point of focus. You see, so our spirit is drawn to the gravity. This spirit, our soul, is drawn down to here. But when it gets here, it wants to go back again. Oh, I want to go back again. So this is very important. There's a connection line. There's the vertical line. But the midpoint of these two things is here. The heart. This is the seat of the soul. This is the soul. This is the important bit. So the soul is the midpoint between the infinite ether up here and the finite world down here. The finite world. So finite is can only go so far. This is finite. This is infinite. So the brain, this part is used to access. This part can access the energy outside. This can access the unconscious mind. This can access. Here we've got a connection. Here we've got a connection to spirit. So there's the soul, and there's the body. Body, soul, spirit, and the soul is also, you can call the mind. The mind. So the mind is the mind or the soul. This is our experience. There's the experience, our singularity of consciousness inside this physical body has an experience. This is what we do. This is emotion. Really, if you think about life, it's just a continuous stream of emotions. I'm feeling something all the time. And I might be enjoying it or I'm not enjoying it. But it's both an experience, it's an emotional experience. And it's subjective. It's subjective. But here in spirit, I can reach up to pure logic, mathematics. Here in the body is your pure experience. This is not really thinking much. So the body here, this is the subconscious mind. This is the subconscious. Subconscious. And this is the unconscious. Unconscious. And here is the conscious. Sorry. The unconscious. So the conscious mind is actually here. The conscious mind is here because the senses come in here, and this is where we have our consciousness, our awareness. But this is outside. This is outside physical reality. Here, the unconscious mind. But even here is this point of inertia. So the unconscious is still there. But I'm calling this the ultimate unconscious because this is the ultimate position. This is the midpoint of everything going on here. So when we have the deep, deep meditation, this is what we're searching for, going into the unconscious mind, returning back to inertia, back to spirit. But even here is the same point. In here there'll be a point of inertia at the center of gravity that is going back to spirit, going back to inertia. So whenever we concentrate on a center, we're going inwards, we're imploding ourselves inwards, we're trying to go back, like the neutron is trying to go back to inertia, it's trying to go back inwards to disappear. The proton is doing the same thing. It's trying to go inwards, but at the same time now it's actually bursted outwards, but one is going in, one is going out. Here this is happening, one is going out, but it's going round inside, it's all stuck inside. So this creates a dynamic. So now we've got this map of the body. There's three main body centers here, energy centers. And in the Tao they talk about the chi, and this is the center of the chi. Your energy builds up here. It's the center of gravity because all the matter is drawn to this point. So this is the power of your body is down here. Here this is your soul. This is polarized. This is the magnetic field. The heart here is known to generate. This generates the magnetic field. But there's more going on. There's the lungs, and there's the thymus gland. There's a gland here, thymus gland, very important. And you've got the rib cage. Here's the rib cage. So your rib cage is a bit like magnetic field lines as well. So this is the center of your magnetism. Polarized energy is here. So here is another central point of inertia, the seat of your soul. Excuse me, it's the cat. If you hear this cat, he's bothering me. Yeah, he has to wait, I'm afraid. He's got plenty of food, he's just greedy. And then here you've got another one, the center of awareness, the center of consciousness. But again, this is depolarized, like this one, depolarized, gravity. So, because this is a singularity, it's held in, it's independent. Now, the interesting thing is, again, I talked about it in the last lecture, lecture 4, living systems. This is now a living system. You need all this going on in a living system. And you can see how much is going on to do with the energy and the ether. Now, you try and build this as a robot. You can't build this as a robot. To create a living system, you need to create these 3 energy centers. You're going to need to create, a center like this, which you're not going to do. You can't do this. You can't create this. This is so complex. This has to come only one way, through the mathematics of the golden ratio, and it has to come through the pure infinite ether all by itself. And this is not evolution, this is not evolving, it's always been there. This mathematics is always there, so the universe is not created, it doesn't start. See, in the middle here, there is no time. This is a timeless state. Let's look at this one more time. See, the universe creates from nothing. There's no time, no space. Inertia is outside time and space. The ether is outside time and space. So here's our soul, our singularity of consciousness. And we want to go back to inertia. We want to disappear again. Remember, we want to go back. We come into this world. And we're going round and round this world. But here what we've got is the waking mind, the conscious mind. And here we've got the dream, the dreaming mind. And this is the subconscious mind. But in the middle here, we have the unconscious. This is the unconscious mind. This is the ether. This is the chi. This is inertia. This is infinity. This point is here. That's why we want to go back there. But we're spinning round and around between the wake and the dream, the wake and the dream. And the subconscious mind is connected to the body. You see, this is programming. You see, when things happen to us in this world, it's recorded. It's recorded in our body. As our body grows, it's continually growing. The bones are continually growing, and it's recording what's happening to us. So the subconscious mind is our body feeding back to us. It's our body feeding back memories, feeding back programming to us. So when we sleep, we're closing our eyes, we sort of lose consciousness. We've gone into a dream, but the dream is still, time is passing. It's still a real experience. It's still part of the cycle. But where's this dream coming from? Well, it's feedback from the body. There's also feedback input from outside. You can have visionary dreams, things coming to you. But you're not conscious. You're sort of conscious, but not conscious. You've gone inwards. The mind is pointing inwards when you're dreaming. And then you're awake, the mind is pointing outwards. So now the eyes are open, the senses are open. Now the input is coming from the external world. So I'm seeing what's happening around me and I'm interpreting this input. And that I need to be awake for. I need to be awake because things can happen to me. This thing can fly and hit me. I've got to be ready. So, but this is what we're trapped in. We're trapped in this cycle of consciousness, experiencing time. And this is what they talk about in all these ancient philosophies. This is nirvana. This is the inner peace. This is enlightenment. This is returning beyond the cycle of life and death, is this. So, but we can have this right now because this is me. I'm a singularity of consciousness. I'm going around and around, but all I've got to do is go to the middle. Close my eyes, concentrate on this point here, and try and disappear back beyond time. And you can achieve it. And you only need a moment, 1 second. If I can achieve a state of meditation of 1 second, gone to this point of nothingness. This is timeless, timeless, bodiless. Here there is no experience. I'm unconscious. We know what unconscious is, knocked unconscious. For a moment you're gone. You don't remember what happened. What happened? You were in the unconscious state. It's timeless and bodiless. If I can achieve a timeless state for a second, it will feel like 100 years. So when we practice our meditation, our chi, don't give up thinking, oh, I can never do it. I've got no time. I've got no time to relax. You don't need any time to relax. You only need 1 second. 1 second, if you achieve this state, is 100 years. You'll go like this, silent for a second. It's like you're dropping off for a second and drop off. Boom, wake up. What happened? How much time passed? I don't know. That could have been 100 years. You'll come back refreshed. You've gone back to ether. You've gone back to spirit. You've released yourself. For a moment, you've released yourself from this cycle of experience. And the trouble is we get stuck in this and we don't enjoy life anymore. You know, waking life is, oh, this is hell. We don't like it. And in the dream, we have pain. Again, the dream is hell. Oh, another dream and a nightmare. But this could also be heaven. This can also be heaven. And this can also be heaven. It all depends on how we approach it. Usually the case that it is hell is because we do not believe we can do anything about it. It is heaven when we realize we can do something about it. We can do something about it. And this is what we have to do. We go inwards, we practice our chi, we practice our meditation. And that's what this whole channel is all about, body efficiency training. I've trained my body first, because my body, if I can get my whole body into a better alignment so the energy in my body is working, then I can achieve a better state of balance. See, my body, I'm locked out of alignment. My mind is always distracted by this misalignment, by this pain in my body. The moment I can get my body into a better position, what happens is the magnetic field lines up better. My magnetic field aligns, and this point of inertia becomes clearer and it becomes stronger. And I've got something to focus on, and I focus inwards towards this point of inertia. But also remember, this point of inertia goes out to ether and goes down to the earth. It will go off to infinity, down to infinity. But when I go off to infinity, it's the same as if I've come to the middle. So this point is the point where the universe begins and it ends. I go off to the full universe, come back to the middle. So this point of inertia, this is what we're working on. And you work on the body, and then you work on the mind. These two things have got to work together. The spirit, the soul, and the body come together in the heart. We're building our soul power. This is soul power. Soul power. And soul power will allow us to have a certain amount of control over our lives. We can't control everything, but we can control what goes on inside our body and goes on inside our mind. And if we can get some control of this cycle, we can turn life into more of a heaven than a hell. It's to do with the attitude. It's to do with our perception. It's to do with our understanding and wisdom. Up here is wisdom. And what I'm trying to share with you now is wisdom. This is a universal wisdom, and I'm sharing it in my own particular way. And I'm trying to share it in a way that integrates science with esoteric science. It should never be separate. This is metaphysics, but physics and metaphysics are the same thing. They have to be the same thing. We're all governed by one and one force, one and only one force. You see, there's only one field of ether. There's only one energy that comes out of this ether and goes back in again. There's two aspects of it. It comes out and goes back, but it's still only one energy, one field. And then there's only one particle that creates one material realm. There's only one material realm. However, it's infinite, but we're never going to get to the edge of it because it's infinite. So this thing is happening all over the universe, it's happening everywhere. This is going to happen on another planet, so you're going to get alien life forms, but there's still, an alien life form is still going to do exactly this. It's still going to do exactly this. They're no different from us. You know, there's plenty of life on this earth we haven't seen. There are plenty of animals and creatures we haven't even seen on this earth. And we might see that and think, wow, an amazing creature. But you might, it could be a creature from another planet. You're still saying, wow, it's still the same. It's still the same. We haven't seen all the varieties of this, but all the varieties of this are going to be governed by phi, the mathematics. Remember, mathematics is the law. There is one and only one law of the universe, which is mathematics. And the mathematics of the physical universe is governed by phi, the golden ratio. And this is how we can understand everything. Right down to the subatomic, subatomic particles. A neutron is a subatomic particle. But there's nothing smaller. The neutron and the proton are the one and the same particle, the only one particle there is. And you see this is the atom. The atom, again, is hydrogen, but the atom is a proton and an electron, but electron is just a bit of energy required to balance it. This is the atom. So here we've got an atom, but the soul, here's the soul, is called the Atma. The Atma, or the Atman. This is in Indian philosophy. Ancient Indian philosophy, the Atma, and there's the atom. They come from the same word. They come from the same word. So there is a singularity of consciousness, the Atma, and there is a singularity of matter, which is the neutron. But the singularity of matter is a singularity of gravity. It's a gravity, a point of inertia, being pulled in towards itself, but the wave is spinning round and around it and can't get in. It's a singularity of gravity, or a singularity of magnetism. The atom. So you can see how all this works together. It's one picture of one field, one consciousness, one awareness, and one single solution to the physical reality that we all live in. One single solution. So let's sum it up finally. Let's sum it up, and I'll do it this way. We've got three things in the universe. We've got consciousness, but consciousness creates energy, and energy creates matter. So between these three things we've got living systems, and everything can appear with these three things. But now energy and matter, we know, are the same thing. Energy. So this is really the same thing. So there's consciousness and energy. So here's three things. But now there's only two things. Consciousness and energy. But energy is really just the division of inertia. And inertia is ether, which is consciousness. So consciousness is a division of inertia, but inertia is ether or consciousness. So there's only one thing. There's only one thing in the universe that is consciousness. Spirit. The ether, a single field outside physical reality, but physical reality is created from this. So the one thing creates the two things, creates the three things. And then we got everything. So I hope this made sense. And I'm going to be talking again a bit more in detail about the mind-body connection, the spirit-matter interaction in the next lecture. The next lecture I'm going into more detail about states of consciousness, because our consciousness has different experiences in all these. When you interact these three things, different experiences happen to us. So I'm going to talk more about states of consciousness and how we train our consciousness, how we train our body to advance through this knowledge. This is not just static knowledge. This knowledge is Jedi. This is Jedi knowledge. This is Jedi knowledge. So we have to be the Jedi. The Jedi means you've got to do something. You've got to do something. Here's the Jedi. Here's the lightsaber. So the Jedi has got to do something. It's not just sitting back and writing notes. We've got to experience this knowledge. So I'm giving you the knowledge, but I'm also going to talk you through how to experience it. And I'll leave the link after this to another meditation, Qigong, where we're working on the magnetic field lines. So after this lecture, have a little look at that exercise set, meditation, moving in meditation, Qigong, to build our center, our point of inertia, the seat of our soul, and the magnetic field that emanates from this. Because this center here, I hope I'm not tapping this, this center here is the point of inertia, magnetic field emanates from here, and this is our aura. We want to build this sphere around us. This will protect us and give us a cushion from things happening to us. Will give us a sense, we'll have a sense of something happening. So we want to build this strong aura. This is part of self-defense. This is the Jedi. The Jedi need the Force. First part of the Force is to build your aura. Without this aura, anything can happen to you. You need this aura, and you'll have a little bit of time before anything happens to you. So that's, I'll leave the link to that video here. In the next lecture, in lecture number 6 will be coming shortly. Stay tuned for that, and do check out the previous lectures if you haven't heard them already, because they all lead up to this. So if some of this doesn't make sense, go back and watch the previous lectures, and hopefully this will make sense more. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.